Alright, so here we are in video 2 of the Bankroll challenge. So in the last one we ended up playing 2-5. We won 800, so that brought the bankroll up from 5,000 to 5,800. So we just need 4,200 more, we'll be at 10K. So here we're in the 1-3 list. Probably gonna be like a 15-minute wait, but either way, looking forward to getting into some hands. Let's get right to it. All right, so we started off this hand with 250. We blinded out a few rounds, called a raise, missed the flop, etc. So anyways, there's a +1 limp, there's a call in between. So when it gets to me with pocket queens, I decide to raise it up to 20. I get the guy behind me to call, and the two limpers decide to complete. So 3 callers, 4 ways to the flop, which comes 6-6-5. So the +1 limper decides to lead out for 40. The guy in between us folds. And so with pocket queens, I'm just not folding. Could he have a 6? Maybe, but more than likely, if he had a 6, he would try to check raise, let there get some money in the pot, not lead out for 40. So anyways, I just decided to call. No need to raise there because I do have a guy behind me. I want to see what he does before I go crazy. So the guy behind me just decides to call. So instantly, I'm not liking that situation. I definitely think somebody could have a 6. But all my fear goes away when the turn is a miracle magical queen. So now I'm hoping they have a 6. Shoot, I'm hoping they have 6-5 for a flop boat. But anyways, now the guy decides to bet 65. And so with a guy behind me, knowing that one of them could be strong and have a 6 or pocket 5s even, I decide to just call because I can make sure that if the guy in the +1 checks the river, I can still put in a bet. So anyways, that's how it works. So now we're still going 3 ways to the river. The river is a jack. And now the guy in the +1 puts me all in. He bets 150. I only have 125 left in my stack. And so I tank, of course, because I still do have a guy behind me, and I would love for him to overcall here. So I think for a moment, I'm counting on my chips, like I don't know what I want to do. You know, maybe my Hollywood wasn't too good, or maybe it was good. I don't know. But either way, I decide to put in the call, and the guy behind me actually folds. So this is where it gets kind of weird. The guy in the +1 says, "What do you have?" And I flip over my hand immediately when he says that, and I say, "Hey, I have top boat." You know? And, at first he takes it pretty good. He throws away his cards. But then, he starts to banter with me like, "Oh, what are you waiting for? Why didn't you just snap call?" And I'm trying to explain to him, like, why would I snap call with a guy behind me that I want to call as well? But he's not really getting it. And so he's telling me that I got lucky. He claims that he flopped the boat, but if he flopped the boat when I call him the river, especially after I make it seem like I didn't want to call, there's no way he's going to ask me what I got. He's just going to flip over his boat. So I'm pretty sure he just had nothing. But I have a little bit of the table talk. If you want to hear it, here it is. I didn't think I was behind at any point in time. I got a guy behind me, bro. I got a guy behind me. Why?
You got a jab.
So that was just a small little clip of the talk. It kind of went on for a minute in the interest of time. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but I really don't like to get combative at the table. I like for people to be more comfortable, and it's more action when the table is comfortable. I guess sometimes if you have like a whale and he's the type of whale when he gets mad, he'll just blast off, then maybe it might be okay to egg them. But generally speaking, I like to just have an easy going time. But I don't know. This guy was just tripping. He had like a 2K stack, everyone was saying, and then he dwindled it all the way down. So I guess that's probably why he was upset. Alright, so here we are. We have pocket 10s, my favorite pocket pair. Well, everyone's favorite pocket pair is aces. So if anyone tells you they like a hand better than aces, they're lying to you. But yes, anyway, this is one of my favorite non-aces pocket pairs, 10s. So I raise to 15, and I get 2 callers, and the flop comes king 7-8 with 2 hearts. So I have second pair, backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. And so they check to me, and I bet 20. They both call, so that's kind of alarming. But anyways, the turn is a 4, and now it checks, and the guy from last hand that got mad about the queen's fool, he decides to leave for 65. I think about it for a second, but I do still have a guy behind me. And with second pair, there's a lot of 2-pair combinations, top pairs, all that stuff. So I just decided to fold. And the guy behind me, he folds as well. And the steaming opponent, he actually shows that he turned the straight. So it was a great fold. And I think this demonstrates that even if you know somebody is steaming and like they're seeming to make an aggressive play, you still got to look at the board and understand that, it's a very good chance that they can have a better hand than you do and still make a disciplined fold, even though you know they might just be trying to get you back. Just, you got to still stay in your game and not try to play this leveling war. Just stay playing poker, and that'll win you the money in the long run. But anyways, next hand. Alrighty, so now time for the worst hand I play of the day. So I raised to 15, and like always, I get 3 callers. So maybe I need to start increasing my raise size, but either way, as it comes, it is a 10-6-5 flop. And being that we're 4 ways, I decide to check. The turn is a 3, so it checks around again. And now the river is a 10. And so the guy from last hand, once again, he's been kind of going crazy now. He bets 35. And I don't know what I'm thinking, but I'm thinking ace king could be good compared to his hand. And so I call, and he shows 4 deuce. So he turned the straight, and then he wanted to see if he could get somebody to bet, and then they didn't. So on the river, he bets, I call, and I lose, of course. So I don't know what that was, but that's just how you light $50 on fire real quick. There was no need for that. So I know I said about playing discipline, but that was my undisciplined move of the day. We all have them every session, so this was mine. All right, so now it's definitely time to bounce back. We look down at ace jack on the button. So there's 2 limpers, and I decided to raise to 20, bumping it up just a little bit. So now the flop comes king jack 6 with 2 diamonds, and so there's 60 in the pot. I go a little bit more than half. I bet 35, and I get 1 caller. A note on the 1 caller: he's one of those guys who was here all night, and he ran up his stack to like 4K, I heard, and now he's only sitting on about 600. So he's been steaming in his own way as well. So he could have anything now, but I know if he had top pair, he would probably raise me. So anyways, we go off to a turn, which is a 5. He checks to me, and now I decide to bet 60. He thinks about it, and he calls. And on the deuce of club river, he checks to me again, and now I'm thinking that the missed diamonds wouldn't call a bet. And so I don't think that a jack would call 3 streets, but I have to factor in that he might not believe me, and so he might just make a loose call with a weaker jack, say queen jack, or maybe like pocket 8s or something like that. But I just decided to check it back, and ace jack is the winner, and it's good. But just leave a comment. Do you think I should have went for that 3rd street of value? Or do you think that my check back on the river was good because it would have been thin, trying to get value from a weaker hand at that point? Alrighty, so moving on along, we're looking at ace queen offsuit in middle position. So when it gets to me, I decide to raise it up to 15, and I get 1 caller and a +1, who is the main villain of this episode. So the flop is ace 10-2 with 2 spades, and I down bet to 10. Probably should be sizing up a little bit more, but either way, he calls, and the turn is a 6 of spade. Not the best card. The flush came in. Now he leads for 25. I've seen him lead with bluffs and for value, so I'm gonna just let him dig his own grave and also pot control in case he actually does have it. So now the river is a deuce, pairing the board, and now he checks. So when he checks, I know he never has as a flush. So I decide to throw out a big bet of 50, and he thinks about it for a second, but then he folds. He shows king 10 with the king of spades, so he had second pair backdoor flush draw, so he tried to set his own price on the turn. So now that I know that, I definitely should have raised because he would have called to try to spike it on me, especially because we've been battling pretty much. But either way, we win the hand, and it's always good to get his chips especially. So on to the next one. Alright, so moving along, one of the best feelings in poker is seeing pocket kings, especially when there's a bunch of dead money in front of you. So there's 3 limpers ahead of me, and when it gets to me, I raise it up to 25. I went really big because of all the dead money, and I know that somebody's going to be my customer, and that customer is the small blind. He looks like a pro. He has the headphones, the sweater, the book bag, all the telltale signs. So anyways, he calls my 25, and we're off to a flop of queen 6-7 with 2 spades. So now, seeing as the board is semi-connected and there's a flush draw, I decided to go for a bet of 30. And he doesn't think too long. Seemed like he might be thinking about raising, but he just calls. So now the turn is an offsuit 3. And when he checks, I decide that he could definitely have a strong top pair, maybe like queen jack, queen 10, or possibly even a hand like ace queen, thinking that I wouldn't raise that big unless I had a very strong hand. So I size up to 75, and unfortunately he doesn't think too long before he folds. But nonetheless, this is the reality of poker. Sometimes you got to size up and make good bets appropriately, because in just one hand, I made about 65 of profit, and that's over 20 big blinds, and that's a lot, especially when you're trying to defeat the rake. So it's just a little subtle thing, but just make sure that you're sizing up to give yourself value, and don't want to go to town with 5 people in the hand. So that 25 was a perfect raise to get me heads up. And so I got good value, and that was the last hand of the night. Let's go rack up and see how we did. Alrighty, so appreciate y'all for watching. We were in the game for 300, and we were out for 701. $1 tip to the cashier. That gives us a net profit of 400. And so now the bankroll is now at 6,200. That means we have 3,800 more to go. Appreciate y'all watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next video, holla.